Hey, what's up YouTube fam? It's Ben here, back with another flow. As always, we got new classes here every Wednesday and Sunday, so please feel free to hit subscribe if you'd like to join the crew and keep growing your practice. And with that being said, today's practice is going to be an open fluid vinyasa. We're just going to get into the body, open things up, and find some rhythm. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started reclined onto our backs. And we don't necessarily need any props for today. As always, if you got yoga blocks, those can be useful, but they're not required. And we'll have a fairly energetic practice today, so using this opportunity to lay down to allow the energy to calm. Your legs can be extended out in front of you, or maybe you can find a Supta Baddha Konasana with the feet together and knees out wide. Rest the hands on your heart and belly and use that point of contact to trace the breath as it comes in and out. Starting to feel the belly rise and fall. Feeling the spine decompress and relax. If you'd like to take any sort of intention setting for today's class, now's a great time. And if you're not sure, a great intention is always coming back to gratitude. Gratitude to be able to move into our bodies, gratitude to experience our breath, to live in the present moment, and to be committing this next amount of time to ourselves and our yoga. From here, take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Last one, deep breath in. Deep breath out. Place the feet flat on the mat. The knees will point up to the sky. Hands can rest by your sides next to your hips. Drive through the feet to lift the hips off the mat into a bridge pose. This doesn't need to be the deepest or most intense bridge pose. It is our first shape of the day, so just allow it to start to create a little bit of heat and engagement, especially on the back side of the body, the glutes, the hamstrings. Keep driving through the feet. Keep working through the integration. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the hips down to the mat. Hug the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug and maybe sway side to side, massaging the muscles around the spine. We'll come back up for another bridge pose. So releasing the feet flat to the mat, knees point up, palms rest by your hips. Drive through the feet, lift the hips a little bit higher. Maybe they go 1 inch higher than the last attempt. Maybe they go 1 millimeter higher. You're setting the focus, driving further into the ground, feeling the weight pull up, working against gravity. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7. Beautiful job for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the hips down to the mat. And then keep the left foot where it is. Extend the right leg up to the sky and clasp the hands behind your right knee. A little hamstring opener. You can keep the hands here, or if you have enough space in your hamstrings, maybe reach up for your right foot and use that to deepen the stretch. And even if you're feeling a little tight, you can always still reach up for the right foot. You could just bring a bend into your right knee to make that possible. You can point and flex the toes if you want. You can find any little movements that feel nice in this hamstring stretch. We'll just be here for a couple more breaths. And then release the right foot down to the mat. We'll find one more bridge pose. Press to the feet, lift the hips high off the mat. Again, maybe this time it's another couple millimeters higher than the second attempt. You can stay here, or you can clasp your hands together behind your low back and bring your shoulders closer to one another as we drive the hips further up in space. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the hips down to the mat. Keep the right foot where it is. Hug the left knee into the chest, and then extend the left leg up to the sky for this hamstring stretch. Again, the hands can stay binding behind the left knee, or you can reach the hands up for your left foot. You can roll the left ankle around. You can find any little movements again on this side that feel good. As much of a bend in the left knee is welcome. Just starting to feel the muscles grow. A couple more breaths here. And then we'll release this and hug both knees into the chest one more time, just so we can start rocking forward and back, eventually making our way into a tabletop position. Releasing the legs out behind you, coming onto the hands and knees. Rock the weight around. Take some circles with the shoulders over the wrists, maybe 3 clockwise and then 3 counterclockwise. When you finish that, turn the hands back so the fingertips will face toward the knees, thumbs face out to the side. And same thing here, you can find stillness, you can rock forward and back, you can take some more of those circles. Just opening up the wrists. And then shift so fingertips face out to the sides, thumbs face forward, rock side to side. And then shift, palms face forward like normal, and then we'll flip one hand at a time so the top or back of the left hand presses into the mat. Maybe you bunch up the fingertips, maybe you just press different parts of your hand down. Good job. And then we'll switch, opposite hand flips on to press down into the mat. And I always love emphasizing the wrist because we do so much pushing in yoga. We do so much poses like high plank and downward facing dog, chaturanga, all of these shapes that have our hands driving into the mat. But often the asana practice doesn't emphasize the wrists and we put so much weight into them. So then as you're ready, we'll just come through tabletop, roll through a few cat-cows. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest forward. As you exhale, push everything away, round the spines, and fill the space in the upper back. So inhales, drop the belly and curl the chest forward. Exhale, push away and round. And I'll stop cueing there. Maybe close your eyes and just flow between these two shapes at the pace of your breath. Allow the breath to dictate the speed and fluidity of the movements, not the other way around. Use the space to become connected, to feel into any points of tension or freedom in the body, and just to observe. And then we'll make our way into downward facing dog. When you get there, you can take some moments to walk out the feet or shift the weight side to side. Do whatever you need to do to gradually settle into your down dog shape. It's really a full body pose now, so we can feel the shoulders expanding, the fingertips gripping into the mat, the heels pressing down, even all of the toes pressing down into the mat. Notice what the pinky toe is doing. Notice what the big toe is doing. It all matters. And then we'll take a few spinal waves in our down dog position. So we'll go nice and slow the first 1 or 2 times, and then we'll move with a little more pace. So inhale, rise up high onto your toes, and then bend your knees a lot, bring your belly closer to your thighs. Wave yourself forward, think high plank, keep an arch in the spine, and then we'll drop the knees and tuck the tailbone to scoop the hips up and back for downward facing dog. And then we'll just go right into the next round. So roll forward, think high plank with a round in the spine, and then drop the knees to hover over the mat, scoop the hips up and back. And then just make it a fluid motion. We're not starting or stopping at any particular point in that movement. We're just going through these continuous rolls, rolling into high plank, dropping the knees to hover, and then scooping the hips up and back. Find your fluidity. Go about 3 or 4 more times through this little sequence. Again, feeling connected, option to close the eyes, option to slow down the movements. Then wherever you're at, go through one more round, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. When you get to down dog, look out in front of you, take a bunch of little steps, walk the feet up to the hands, forward fold. You can find any bind in the arms that you'd like. I'll give 2 options here. One option is ragdoll, clasping opposite hand to elbow, having a soft bend in the knees, letting the torso dangle real nice and loose and relaxed down toward the mat. The other option, which I'll take because it feels nice for me, is gorilla pose, parahastasana, sliding the hands underneath the feet for a nice wrist stretch, and you can use the toes to kind of massage the base of the palms. As strange as that sounds, it feels very nice. Find some freedom in your expression here. And we'll just be in this fold, be in this soft, still shape for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release any binds that you're holding and find a halfway lift. Extend the spine forward. The fingertips can remain down, or you can bring the palms to the thighs or the shins. Good. On your next exhale, release into a fold. Drive through the feet, roll the body up to standing, and reach the hands up really high. And then release the hands behind your low back. Clasp the hands together. Draw the knuckles down toward the mat behind you. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, fold forward. Keep the bind as you lift the hands overhead for a deeper shoulder stretch. Wave the weight side to side. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, release the hands down to the mat. And that's our modified sun A, or modified half sun A for today. So as you inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, fold and release. Inhale, rise to stand, palms lift overhead. Exhale, hands clasp behind the low back. Inhale, draw the knuckles down to lift the chest. Exhale, fold forward, keep the bind in the hands, palms lift overhead. Take an inhale here. Exhale, release the hands down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, palms lift overhead. Exhale, clasp the hands behind the low back. Inhale, draw knuckles down toward mat behind you. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, keep the bind. Exhale, release the bind. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Building the rhythm. Inhale, rise to stand, palms overhead. Exhale, clasp hands behind low back. Inhale, draw knuckles down, open the chest. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to keep the bind. Exhale, gently release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, palms overhead. Exhale, clasp hands behind low back. Inhale, draw palms down, open the chest. Exhale, fold forward, keep the bind. Inhale here. Exhale, release the hands down. Inhale, rise to stand, palms overhead. Exhale, clasp hands behind low back. Inhale, draw knuckles down. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, release the hands down and pause. Plant the palms firmly down on the mat, and we'll step both feet back into a high plank position. Drive through the hands so much that we fill the space in the upper back between the shoulder blades. So we're feeling the scapula separate further away from each other, and we're externally rotating the arms, eyes of the elbows forward, pointy parts of the elbows back. Bring space between each one of your fingertips and then grip the mat. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, drop your knees into a tabletop-like shape, and then bring your hips closer to your heels for this sort of puppy pose. The hands are outstretched in front of you. The toes are still tucked behind you. From here, pull yourself through. Think knees, chest, and chin down on the mat. Allow that to create a subtle back bend. And then we'll pull through to an upward facing dog. And then find our downward facing dog. Beautiful. From here, we'll go through a few of those modified vinyasas, and then we will find our flow. So inhale, rise up high onto the toes. Exhale, compress belly toward thighs. Inhale, wave yourself forward into a high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back toward heels. Inhale, pull yourself through. Think knees, chest, and chin into an upward facing dog. And then exhale to your downward facing dog. Inhale, rise up high onto the toes. Exhale, compress belly toward thighs. Inhale, wave forward into high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back toward heels. Inhale, pulls yourself through to upward facing dog, tops of the feet pressed down. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, rise high onto the toes. Exhale, compress belly toward thighs. Inhale, wave forward into high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through, think upward facing dog. And then find your downward facing dog. From here, find stillness, root your heels down, press the chest closer to the legs in your down dog. Lift the right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Bend the right knee, stack the right hip on top of the left. Option to drop down to the left forearm. Option to even lower the right leg behind you for flip dog. Find any movement here that feels good, especially rolling the right hip around maybe. Then come back through three-legged dog, square off the hips. Take a big step, right foot outside of right hand. Drop down to the right knee and lift the right hand up to the sky for this twisted lizard lunge. From here, rotate onto the outer blades of both feet, pressing the right knee out toward the side. Lifting up, opening, expanding. Take a breath in. As you exhale, close things off. Bring left knee down to the mat. Bring right hand inside of right foot. From here, we'll tuck the left toes. Lift the left knee off the mat. We're in this strong runner's lunge. Take a breath in here and a breath out. Rise onto your fingertips. Maybe it's all 5 fingertips. Maybe it's 3 or 2 fingertips. Good. Release all 5 fingertips back down, and then we'll straighten the right leg in some capacity for this modified pyramid pose. So if you have blocks, this is a good place to place them under the hands to create more space. If you don't have blocks, and if this feels too challenging for you, you can always keep a slight bend in your right knee, right? As I straighten the right leg in some capacity, right? So straighten as much as you're able to while still maintaining some ease and without stressing the body. But if you can straighten all the way, by all means, go for it. And then we'll start to bend into our right knee again, leaning the heart forward into this lizard lunge. We'll take a big step from here, left foot outside of left hand, and then reach the palms forward. So we're in this active squat position. The knees are gently pressing out toward the sides. We're sending the hips back in space, and the weight is in our heels. Relax in the shoulders as the arms reach forward. Take a breath in here. Exhale, stand up and bring your palms to heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach the palms up above you. Exhale, sink down into your squat, but bring the hands to center. As you inhale, hands down to the mat, find some buoyancy in the elbows, and then step the left foot back behind you for that lizard lunge. Lean the chest forward, and then step the right foot behind you. Take an inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees, send hips back toward heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into an upward facing dog. And then exhale to your downward facing dog. When you get there, take a couple breaths in, take a couple breaths out. And we'll find that movement in the other side. So we'll lift the left leg up to three-legged dog. We'll bend the left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right. Option to stay here, option to move toward flip dog, or what I'll do is just drop down to my right forearm. And to me, that just gives a little bit more availability to open deeper into this shape. It also just brings some mindfulness as I'm able to shift the weight around and press different parts of my body into the mat. But wherever you're at, we will Close things off and come back into three-legged dog. Square off the hips. Then take a big step, left foot outside of left hand. When you get there, drop down to the right knee and then lift the left hand up to the sky for a twist. From here, start to rotate onto the outer blades of the right and left foot. The left knee presses gently out to the side. Feel the hips opening. Take a breath in. As you exhale, release right knee down, left hand inside of the left foot. From here, we'll tuck the right toes, lift the right knee off the mat. We're in this strong runner's lunge. Option to come on the fingertips, option to even come onto maybe 2 fingertips on each side. Good. And then bring all 5 fingertips back down. Straighten the left leg in some capacity for this modified pyramid pose. Maybe you kind of kick the left toes back toward the shin. Maybe you keep the left foot fully grounded down. It doesn't really matter as long as you can feel a nice stretch in the hamstring and a little bit of length in the spine. Start to bend into your left knee again. Lean the heart forward. We'll take a big step, right foot outside of right hand, and then reach the hands forward for this active squat. Knees out to the side, hips send back, weight in the heels. Relax the shoulders. Take a breath in. As you exhale, stand up, bring the palms to center. Inhale, reach the hands up above you. Exhale, sink back down into your squat. Inhale, reach the palms down to the mat, buoyancy in the elbows. And then exhale, step the right foot back to our lizard lunge. Lean the chest forward, then step the left foot back. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pulls yourself through to upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. We're going to start moving through that flow a little bit quicker. 1 breath per movement and finding that fluidity. And we'll have a few opportunities, so don't worry if it doesn't feel awesome on the first try. We will get there. So inhale, lift the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step right foot outside of right hand. Lean the chest forward, breathe in. As you breathe out, left foot outside of left hand. Inhale, reach forward to your active squat. Exhale, stand, bring your palms to center. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, sink down into your squat. Inhale, hands down to the mat. Exhale, step the left foot back in space. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Exhale, right foot back in space. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, drop down to knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pulls you through to upward facing dog. And exhale, find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale, reach left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step left foot outside of left hand. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, right foot outside of right hand. Inhale, reach hands forward, active squat. Exhale, stand, palms to center. Inhale, reach the hands overhead. Exhale, sink back down into squat. Inhale, hands down to the mat. Exhale, step right foot back in space. Inhale, lean the chest forward. Exhale, step left foot back. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into upward facing dog. And exhale, find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, right foot outside of right hand. Inhale, lean the chest forward. Exhale, left foot outside of left hand. Inhale, palms reach forward. Exhale, stand, hands to heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink down into your squat. Inhale, palms meet the mat. Exhale, step left foot back in space. Inhale, reach the heart forward. Exhale, right foot back in space. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into upward facing dog. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Exhale, left foot steps outside of left hand. Inhale, reach the heart forward, maybe rise onto the fingertips. Exhale, step right foot outside of right hand. Inhale, reach palms forward. Exhale, stand, hands to center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink back down. Inhale, palms meet the mat. Exhale, step right foot back in space. Inhale, reach heart forward. Exhale, step left foot back in space. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into upward facing dog. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Last one here. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, right foot outside of right hand. Inhale, lean the heart forward, maybe come onto the fingertips. Exhale, left foot outside of left hand. Inhale, reach hands forward. Exhale, stand, palms to center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink back down. Inhale, reach the hands down to the mat. Exhale, step left foot back in space. Inhale, heart reaches forward. Exhale, right foot back in space. Inhale here. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into upward facing. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Exhale, left foot outside of left hand. Lean the heart forward, breathe in. Exhale, step right foot outside of right hand. Inhale, hands forward, active squat. Exhale, stand, palms to center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sink down into your squat. Inhale, palms meet the mat. Exhale, right foot steps back in space. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, left foot steps back in space. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, drop knees, send hips back to heels. Inhale, pull yourself through into upward facing dog. Exhale, find your downward facing dog and pause. Take a couple breaths. Land in stillness just for a moment. From here, look forward between the hands. Inhale to rise high onto the toes. Exhale, bend the knees a lot. Ripple forward into your high plank and pause here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. From here, drop the knees, send the hips back in space. Pull yourself through into an upward facing dog. And then find your downward facing dog. When you find down dog, look out in front of you. This time, just walk the feet up to the hands, forward fold. Allow the weight to dangle side to side. Allow it to be soft. Allow it to be mellow. Slowly roll up to stand. Reach the palms up to the sky. Take a breath in. Then exhale, drop the palms to rest by your sides. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe close your eyes. Stand in your power here. Know that you're beautiful, you're supported, and you're loved. We'll come into a balancing sequence now. So again, we'll go nice and slow first round, and then we'll start to find a little bit of pace with it. So we'll stand on the right foot. We're gonna bring the left knee up into our chest for stork pose. The palms can stay at heart center, or you can lift the hands overhead if you wish. From here, try to extend and straighten your left leg out in front of you. Good. And then bend your left knee again. Try to open your left knee out toward the side. Maybe reach the hands out to the left and right. Feel the hip opening. And then we'll take a big rotation coming into warrior 2 with the right foot forward. So it's going to be a big rotation back, eventually dropping the left foot to the back of the mat, dropping the left heel down and opening up into our warrior 2 shape. Again, it's totally okay if you need a couple attempts or a few steps in order to get there, because that is quite the challenging transition. Relaxing in the shoulders, settling deeper into your warrior 2. And simply breathing. Good. Find a peaceful warrior, reach the right hand up to the sky, and then we'll find side angle. So your right elbow will meet your right knee, the left hand reaches overhead. Option to stay here, option to find the bind by reaching the right arm beneath the right thigh and then wrapping the left arm behind your low back. If you're using the bind, try to keep pressing your hips forward out to the left side of the mat and reaching back through your left shoulder. Awesome work. Keep breathing here. And then if you're binding, release and come back into that side angle. From here, we're coming into triangle by straightening out the right leg and bringing our right hand down to our shin or down to the mat as the left hand reaches up to the sky. Try to keep integrity and length in the spine here. Beautiful movements. From here, we'll rise up all the way to stand, bring the palms to heart center, take a quarter turn, pivoting the feet out toward the left side of the mat. From here, we'll take another quarter turn, coming into a crescent lunge facing the back of the mat. So we're spiking high onto the right toes this time, finding strength in the right leg as the back leg here. Palms can come to heart center, or of course you can lift them overhead if you prefer. Good work so far, y'all. From here, we'll start to lean forward into a warrior 3 shape. So we're strong on the left foot. You'll see I still have a nice bend in my left knee because that makes me feel a little bit more stable. Then I'm pointing my toes out behind me on the right side as I engage through the right quad. From here, lift back up into a stork pose. Right knee lifts up into the chest. And then we'll cross right ankle over right knee for this figure 4 shape. Palms can stay at heart center. Maybe you sink the hips a little bit lower into this figure 4. Feel a stability standing on your left foot. Good work. Breathe. Stork pose, lift right knee up into the chest. And then we'll find a dancer by binding the inner blade of the right foot with the right hand, lifting the left hand up to the sky, and then kicking back to lean forward. Doesn't need to be the most intense or deep dancer. We're just setting the foundation for our balance and noticing what it feels like to stay on one foot for quite a long time. Good. And then from here, we'll just release to stand. Rest the hands at heart center or by your sides. Take a few deep breaths. And quite a bit of movement, quite a bit of challenging transitions there. And then we'll move into the other side. So we're going to stand on our left foot and find a stork pose, bringing the right knee up into the chest. Best effort to straighten the right leg and engage the hip flexor and quad. And then bend back into the right knee. Open the right knee out to the side. Maybe reach the hands out to the side as well. And we're taking that big sweeping transition, opening up the hip to gradually step the right foot out behind us for this warrior 2. The right heel will dial down to the mat, make it as soft as you can. But again, don't worry if that feels wobbly or if it feels very challenging on the first attempt. We're in this strong warrior 2. Set your foundation. Bend deeper into the left knee. Gently press the left knee out toward the left edge of your mat. The left arch should be roughly in alignment with, or excuse me, the left heel should be roughly in alignment with the right arch. But again, it's just a guideline, so it'll look a little bit different for all of us. From here, peaceful warrior, reach the left hand up and back in space. Keep bending into the left knee, and then rotate into a side angle. Left elbow to left knee, reach the right hand overhead. Option to stay here, or reach for the bind, right hand behind the low back, left arm underneath the left thigh. If you're binding, return to side angle by bringing your left elbow to your left knee. Reach the right hand overhead. Straighten the left leg from here and come into a triangle pose. Left hand reaches down toward the left shin. Right hand reaches up. Find your steadiness. Then from here, we'll power through the legs to rise up to stand. Pivot the feet to square off toward the side of your mat. From here, we're going to pivot again to face the top of our mat and come into a crescent lunge with the right foot in front. Palms can be at center, or you can reach the hands overhead. Start to lean forward until you come into a warrior 3 position, balancing on the right foot, maybe keeping a bend in the right knee as the heart leans forward. Good. Stork pose. Left knee lifts up into the chest. And then cross the left ankle over the right knee. Sink down into your figure 4 shape. Woo. Embrace the wobbles if you're watching the screen. You saw that I almost fell there because this is quite the challenge for me. And the right side is definitely my weaker side on my legs, so anytime I'm balancing for a while on my right foot, I always get the wobbles. But we'll rise back up to stork pose and then find our dancer, hooking the left hand on the inner blade of the left foot and then reaching the right hand overhead, kicking up to lean forward. Just a couple breaths here. Take a deep breath in. On your deep breath out, release to stand. Rest the hands at heart center or by your sides. Take a few deep breaths. Enjoy this moment of having both feet firmly rooted down on the mat. And then we'll start to find a little bit of rhythm in that flow. We'll still move pretty slowly overall to give us time in the transitions, but we won't necessarily hold each pose for as long as we did on the first round. So the right foot is our standing leg here, and we'll come up into stork pose with the left leg. Palms come to heart center or lift overhead. Extend the left leg out in front of you. Bend into the left knee. Open the left hip by pointing the left knee out to the side, and then start to open up Bend into the right knee and send the left foot back in space, eventually landing to the back of our mat as we open to a warrior two. Peaceful warrior, reach the right hand back and take a deep breath in. As you exhale, rotate into side angle. Left hand overhead, right elbow to right knee. We won't go for the bind this time. We'll just move directly into our triangle pose. As the right hand comes to the right shin or down to the mat, left hand reaches up. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. As you breathe in, rise up to a standing position and pivot the toes to face out toward the left side of your mat. From here, pivot again, so we're facing the back of our mat with the left foot in front. Palms come to heart center or reach overhead, it's your choice. And then we'll lean forward into our standing warrior three. Find the engagement in the lifted leg. And then shift it forward into stork pose. Lift right knee up into the chest, cross right ankle over left knee, and sink down into your figure four shape. Good. From here, reach back up into stork, then swing the right leg behind you, find dancer's pose, right hand to the inner blade of the right foot, and then reach the palms up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale to release to stand. In your standing position, maybe close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more, deep breath in. Deep breath out. From here, the left foot is going to be in front. We'll lift the right knee up into the chest. Bring the palms to heart center or lift overhead. Try to straighten your right leg. Bend back into the right knee and then open the right hip out to the side. Take a big sweeping step back with the right foot to the back of the mat, or what's now the back of the mat, as we open up into our warrior two shape. Find your peaceful warrior. Left hand reaches up and back. And then side angle. Left elbow to left knee. Right hand reaches overhead. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Start to move into your triangle pose. Left hand to left shin. Right hand opens and blossoms up. Power through the legs. Rise up to standing. Take a quarter turn. Feet face out toward the left side of the mat. And then we'll take a pivot to face the top of the mat. Palms can come to center in your crescent lunge, or they can lift up to the sky. Start to lean forward into your warrior three pose. Engagement in both legs. In order to shift the weight forward, left knee up into the chest for stork pose. Cross left ankle over right knee and sink the hips down for this version of a figure four shape. Rise back up to stand, and then bring the left foot behind you, hooking the left foot with your left hand and then reaching forward into your dancer's pose. Find the growth here. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out to release and stand. Rest the palms by your side. A beautiful mobility challenge there. And embracing the challenge. So even me, I've done this sequence before, I've taught this before, but I still had to lean on the wall in front of me in that dancer because it is very challenging to stand and balance on one foot for a long time, especially when we're shape shifting. But we'll go ahead and try it again. So standing on the right foot, bring the left knee up into the chest, hands to heart center. Try to straighten the left leg out in front of you, and then bend into the left knee. Open the left hip as we reach the left knee out to the side. Take a big sweeping step back. Left foot eventually lands to the back of our mat as we open to warrior two. Peaceful warrior, reach the right hand up and back in space, and then bring your right elbow to your right knee. Left hand reaches overhead for side angle, and then straighten the right leg for triangle pose as the left shoulder and left arm reach up and back. Power through the legs, rise up to stand. Take a quarter turn with the feet to face out toward the side. Take another quarter turn to face the back of the mat. Come into crescent lunge, palms to heart center or overhead. Lean out into your warrior three, strength in both feet actually. And then shift forward into your stork pose. Awesome work. From stork, cross right ankle over left knee and then sink the hips low. Rise back up to stork and then release the right leg out behind you. Grab the inner blade of the right foot with the right hand and then lean, kick to lift. Take a breath in. Breath out, release to stand. And let's come right onto the other side. So we're standing on the left foot here, right knee up into the chest. Try to straighten the right leg. Bend back into the right knee. Release the right hip out toward the side, and then take a big sweeping step, right foot to the back of our mat as we open up to warrior two. Find calmness in the upper body. And find your peaceful warrior. Left hand reaches up and back. Side angle, left elbow to left knee, right hand reaches overhead. Start to straighten your left leg as we reach the left hand down to the shin and open up to our triangle pose, Trikonasana. Power through the legs, rise up to stand, take a quarter turn, pivoting the feet out to the side. And then another quarter turn into our crescent lunge, facing the top of the mat. Palms come to heart center. Start to lean the weight out in front of you for warrior three. And then shift it forward into stork pose, left knee up into the chest. Cross left ankle over right knee into our figure four shape, and then sit down. Lift back up into stork, and then grab the inner blade of the left foot with the left hand, and then kick to lift into your dancer's pose. Take a deep breath in. As we exhale, release to stand. Let the hands rest by your side. Let the whole body soften. Don't worry, we're done with that balancing madness. Reach the hands up to the sky, and then fold forward. Relax in your forward fold for a moment. See what it feels like to completely soften in the shoulders, neck, jaw, eyelids, mouth, nose. They all relax. From here, step both feet back into your high plank position. Drive through the hands, strengthen in the legs. We'll be here for 15, 14. You can use your knees if you like for 13, 12, 11. Drive through the palms for 10, 9, 8. Externally rotate the arms for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop knees, send hips back in space. Pull yourself through into an upward facing dog. We'll linger here for a couple breaths. If you'd like to dip one shoulder then the other, keep this sensation of pressing the tops of the feet down and pulling the hips through. Take one more breath in, and then exhale into your downward facing dog. From here, we'll come into a half pigeon on the right side. So stepping the right leg forward, dropping the right hip down, and finding your shape. So for half pigeon, I always offer the variation of 90-90 pose or deer pose, which is simply bringing a 90-degree, roughly 90-degree bend into your left leg behind you, as well as the right leg in front of you, and then using that to create space and just opening into the hips. You can fold forward over the right leg. You can even just keep sitting up if you'd like. And then for half pigeon, that is the version where we fully extend the left leg out behind you. And there's no right place to be. It just depends on what version of this shape works best for your body. So for me, half pigeon feels nice when I fully extend the left leg behind me. I try to square my hips forward, so the left hip is kind of squaring down and forward. Of course, it's never perfect, but it's an intention. It's a work in progress. And then we can gradually fold down to make this shape a little bit more restorative. Maybe rest the head on the backs of the hands. Maybe rest the head down on the mat. We'll have plenty of time here, about a full minute. So continue to soften, continue to work into this very deep hip opener. Just breathe. And if you'd like to come back to your intention that you said at the beginning of class, now is a great time. Whenever you feel the mind wander, become distracted, just come back to that intention. Be with it. Understand it. And then just breathe. So our only obligation here is to breathe. We'll have a few more breaths here. If you'd like to soften in any way or take this into any deeper variation for the last stretch, feel free. And then we'll slowly start to lift up out of this stretch on this side, mindfully making our way out of this stretch because it is quite the deep shape for many of us. And if it's not too deep for you, then awesome. You got very loose hips. That's great for you. That's what I'm striving for. And then we'll just come into half pigeon on the left side. So if you'd like to come through a down dog or a tabletop or any other in-between shapes, feel free. And then we'll eventually step our left leg out in front of us. For half pigeon, of course, all those same variations that I mentioned on the previous side are more than available here. Maybe sit up at the start of the shape. And then again, we have plenty of time, so using that time to gradually settle and fold a little bit deeper and experience the opening of the body. Breathe here, be here. And each time the mind wanders, come back to the breath, come back to the intention. Simply be with it, be present. No obligation to be anywhere else except right here. We'll have another few breaths, so if you'd like to soften a little bit deeper in any areas, now is a good time. And we'll start to gradually and gently lift up out of our half pigeon. This time, instead of stepping back, we'll swing the right leg out in front of us and find a wide-legged seated forward fold. My favorite stretch, as y'all know. Start by just shifting the weight around, folding over the right leg and the left leg. Working into the new space here. Feeling the inner hamstrings expand. And then we'll fold over the right leg. Reach the left hand up and overhead. Maybe the left hand reaches toward the outer blade of the right foot. And take some deep, deep breaths into this side body stretch. And whenever we get into twists or side body extensions, anything with the mid body, because that's where our breath goes when we inhale and exhale, the breath has a deeper impact on the effects of the stretch. So notice what effect that has for you. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to release. Rotate through center and then over off the left leg. Reach the right hand up and overhead. Create that side body stretch as the right hand reaches in the direction of the outer blade of the left foot. Lean into the new space. Take your deep breaths. We'll be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sit up, come through center. Nice and tall, extend the spine up, and then fold forward down the middle in some capacity. Maybe you don't fold forward that deep. Maybe you fold all the way down to the mat. Maybe you're somewhere in between. Either way, our job is just to not have any judgment over the shapes that our physical body makes. Just kindness, just love. Breathe here. Feel the shoulders relax for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit up nice and tall. And then recline onto your backs, just like how we started class. Bring your feet together, knees out wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. Rest the hands somewhere on the torso. And then we'll bring the feet flat on the mat, knees point up. We'll get ready for bridge pose. Again, just like how we started class, so notice after so much energetic movement, how this feels to find this shape again. Drive through the feet, lift the hips high off the mat. Find your expansion, palms can remain here. Maybe you interlace the palms behind your low back and wiggle your shoulders closer to one another. Find your fullest expression for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release and rock everything down. We'll have one more opportunity for bridge pose, or if you'd like to take it into a full wheel by placing the palms above your shoulders, you're more than welcome to do so. Let's go ahead and rise back up. The last active challenge of the class. Find your fullest expression of bridge pose or full wheel. Breathe into the shape. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Beautiful job. On 1, slowly release. Hug the knees in toward your chest. Beautiful. From here, drop the knees off the left side of your mat. Come into a spinal twist. Reach the right hand out toward the side. Maybe gaze to the right hand. And you can even use your left hand on your right knee to deepen the twist. Again, just like in our side body stretch, try to breathe deeply here. And come back through center. Take a deep breath in, give a squeeze, then twist the hands off the right side of the mat. You can use your right hand on your left knee to deepen. Maybe open the left arm out to the side and take a few breaths. And rotate back through center. Hug the knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze, so much gratitude. And then extend the legs out in front of you for your final resting pose. And yogis, this is where I'll leave you. Please feel free to linger in your shavasana for as long as you need to. Well deserved. Feel free to take this practice deeper in any ways that you may like. Until we meet again, it's always a blessing and an honor to share this space with you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And until we meet next time, peace and love.